Hello. So if I tell you, don't think of the color white, immediately the thing that comes to your mind is the color white. See what happens in communication, especially when we are communicating with ourselves. When we talk to ourselves and say, don't be stressed, what the brain actually would do now is the brain would completely negate the term don't from the statement, and we would focus on the word stress. So when we say don't stress, what comes to our mind? Stress. Don't be sad, what comes to our mind? Sad. So instead of saying don't be sad or don't be stressed, we can replace that by saying be happy, stay relaxed. Yeah? So with that sort of positive affirmation that we keep on giving to ourselves on a regular basis, it's going to create a huge difference and would eventually multiply in the longer run. A lot of times people say that how to communicate with ourselves. How can I communicate with myself? I mean, believe you me, if I'll tell you right now, the only person that's going to make substantial impacts on the profitability of your business or in the personal life of yours, or somebody who is entirely and solely responsible for the happiness or success in your life, is nobody else but you. So when we are told and when we get to know about the fact that yes, I am the person who is responsible for my own betterment, we need to speak to that person on a regular basis. But sadly, we never ever interact with ourselves. We never communicate with ourselves. It's very unlikely that any one of us actually interacts with ourselves on a regular basis. Yes, people would actually say that, oh yeah, in the night when I'm lying down in bed, I'm actually thinking about myself. I'm actually thinking about what I've done during the day, but I beg to differ. Why? Because at that time, when you're lying in bed, you are basically either listening to the music or you probably are going through social media. Yes, you are alone, but are you really alone? That's the question. Are you really meeting yourself, or are you aimlessly scrolling through social media feeds? When we start to interact with ourselves, we tend to discover the hidden horizons of our own thought patterns. We start to unfold the mystery of our own brain, of our own thought process. And we get to meet the most amazing person, that is ourselves. We connect to our soul, we connect to our spirits. And at that time we realize, oh, this is not something that I was meant to do. Or this is not the career I was meant to be in. But because we've been programmed to follow a certain path, so we get into college, we get into university, we get into the undergrad, postgrad programs. Why? Because some of our family members have asked us to do so because they have been tremendously successful in that field. But that was them. That's their personality. That's their thought process. So for example, if somebody is an artificial intelligence scientist, data scientist, and they're mincing a lot of money, they have an amazing life, and they're enjoying that. And when I see them and I'm like, you know, this is the type of profession I need to be in, or at least I'll ask my kids to be in that profession. But what if my kid wanted to be a lawyer? What if my kid was communicating with himself or herself to be a chef, or to be an engineer, or to be an artist? But because I was blindsided completely when I was looking at that person, and I immediately connect the word happiness with the numbers, that, you know, if I'm making X million amount of, you know, money in a month, I'll be really happy. But that's where I fail, because I'm not interacting with myself, or I won't let my kids to interact with themselves. So this is, again, one of the very important things, that when you're interacting with yourself, how are you interacting? How are you communicating? Are you using the word don't all the time? That don't be stressed, don't be sad, don't worry. When you say don't worry, you're basically saying worry, because the don't word is gone and now the focus is on worry. Instead of saying don't worry, say be happy, relax, take it easy. It's going to be okay. rather than saying, oh, don't worry, you'll get over the problem. No, you won't, because now you're telling the other person about the word problem. And the last word of that sentence is the word on which that person is going to be focusing on. So don't worry, worry is the last word. So from now on, when you're interacting with yourself, when you're communicating with yourself, don't say the word don't. See, again, I did the same thing. But rather than telling yourself not to do something, you can simply say do something. Be happy. Be successful. If you're being stressed, be stressed. Don't worry. See, in a stress, there are two types. So we have distress and we have eustress. Distress absolutely is not an area in which you would like to go to. But eustress, E-U-S-T-R-E-S-S, eustress is something that you must go, because the sort of anxiousness that you develop to be in the next level or to level up your life, that probably is going to be beneficial for you. But given the fact that you are somebody who likes to enjoy going up, because as I said in my previous lecture as well, that progress not always means moving up. Sometimes staying where you are and enjoying the moments is a true blessing. When you are at complete peace and you have no distractions from the outer side or from the inner side as well, that's when you are really enjoying that moment. Then you don't really worry about the fact that if I'm going up or down, on right or left, no. You're staying still. And that's what Lao Tzu said. One of the famous Chinese philosopher, I believe, and he said, if you're living in the past, you are going to be depressed. If you are feeling anxious, that means you're living in future. But if you are at peace, that means you're truly living in present. To communicate with yourself in positive affirmations and live in the moment. And don't make hasty decisions. Again, I'm doing the same thing. You see? Don't make hasty decisions. Instead, I must say, take an easy and relaxed decision. You see, we are so much accustomed and programmed to use these words on a regular basis that we don't even realize that we're making a serious, crime to ourselves. It's like a serious sort of a sin that we keep on committing on a regular basis. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. No. Instead, say, do this, do this, do this. You'll never see somebody saying, oh yeah, worry more. Unless you're being sarcastic. No. So try and use the affirmation when you are interacting with yourself, and be in that mode when you are in complete solitude, peace, enjoying the moment, and connect with yourself. And you'll see the miracles going to happen. Thank you.